This was the number of pills that I would take. I had been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
We have been doing the work of
Yeah,
God
can
for
you hear?
22 years. We had left everything behind. We were already married when we went into the work of God. Wherever we have been, we have taught people about the Holy Spirit and the strength that He brings into a person who has been filled with the Holy Spirit.
Sorry, could you just send me an
One day,
audio on
the
Telegram?
time
I can't
came
hear you
when
properly.
we also had to demonstrate this strength. Not only to teach and preach, but to truly live out what we were teaching people. This was the moment where my wife, after she underwent some routine exams, discovered that she had cancer.
I felt like my body was swollen, and when I touched under my arm, I felt a lump. I already had an appointment booked with the gynecologist, and I went to her. When I got there, I told her about it and she examined me. Initially, she thought that it was an edema, a cyst, or something else. However, with more detailed exams, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. At the time, the information that I received was that Hodgkin's lymphoma was a form of cancer, and that those who have it only have a year to live. It wasn't easy. In the beginning, it was very difficult because I never accepted that I was sick. Having to leave the house on certain days to go for treatment was very difficult. I would arrive at the hospital, see all the medication, and think to myself, my God, this is not for me. The treatment was really debilitating, and my immune system was greatly affected. My hair fell out. I couldn't sleep at night. I had mucositis at the beginning of the treatment, which are sores in your mouth going down to your stomach. I couldn't eat. It was even difficult to swallow my own saliva. In fact, we have a photo. This black spot was where the lymphoma was in my right underarm. In this photo, or PET scan, we can see that it was spreading to the back, covering my breast and going up to my neck. And there were signs of it on my elbow, not to mention the effects of the medication, which are horrible. Medication for pain, antibiotics, stomach acid inhibitors. The medication, in a certain way, instead of helping me, hindered me. In fact, I have the boxes of all the medication. I kept them all because I knew that one day they would serve as my testimony. Vitamins, all the medication that I took during both treatments, the 2 treatments that I went through. I kept them all because I knew that this would be part of my testimony. Given all this medication, this was what got me revolted. I did not accept to stay the way that I was. Before that, I was healthy. I didn't need any of this. From one day to the next, I started to need them. That was when I began to use my faith. I took part in the meetings. I took part in the chains of prayer. On Tuesdays, I went through the corridor. I took the blessed cloth on Tuesdays and slept with it. During the time that I had the lymphoma, I placed the cloth under my arm.
There wasn't a moment where we allowed ourselves to be dampened in our faith. No, we were always lively. The Holy Spirit was with us. So I started taking care of things. I started taking care of the church. When I took her for chemotherapy, she would get sick in the car, on the way there and back. She would stay at home afterwards, and the next day, she couldn't even get up to cook. She had no strength. However, we were always active in faith and trusting. We would always talk about this, that this will pass. I remember that I told her once, listen, no one tells a story without the altar. There is no story without the altar. And you will have to tell yours.
During this time, the campaign of Israel came by. I saw myself in this condition, and I told God, Lord, I have to do something because I cannot remain this way. I had a small machine, and I thought, we are in the pandemic. This is the only thing that I have that could produce something.
She said, "What I can produce are masks. We are still in the pandemic. Can you help me?" I said, "I can." Therefore, despite being tired, despite being in a lot of pain, despite being swollen from the medication, we quickly went to the city center, bought the fabric, took it home, and she began making masks at home.
Then I collected my sacrifice into a box. I kept earning it day after day.
She kept earning her sacrifice, but I did my part. I took my laptop, which was for work, and also took a projector that I had. In addition to this, she also had to take very expensive vitamins. She had to take them for her immunity. I got home, looked at her, and said, "Sue, I'm going now to sacrifice this amount, which is for the medication."
The day to climb the altar came. I had my envelope, which I made myself at home. I was unwell that day, but I said, "My God, I am going because today is the day. It's all for all." I went there with my husband. I climbed on the altar, made my sacrifice, and I only thanked him. In that moment, I told God, "My Lord, I am here. My life is already on your altar. My life is already yours, but I am here to draw your attention and not to ask. I am not going to ask you to heal me. I am only going to thank you because I believe that you are with me and that you have already healed me." Then I went down from the altar, and the dates came where I had to go to the doctor. I went to her, and she asked for new exams to be done. I had done them 2 months prior, and they showed a huge spot, which was the lymphoma. This time, however, there were no spots. It was all clear in my underarms. The spots on the neck and arm didn't exist anymore. That was just a confirmation that God was with me, and that in addition to sustaining me, I drew his attention, and he truly performed what I was already expecting to happen. When we went to the doctor to receive my exam results, the words that the doctor said to us as soon as we walked into his office were, "Now I believe that your God exists, because your case was not a normal one."
We had a moment in the hospital, which was very important, to magnify God. To magnify God. He looked at me and said, "I am unable to see as you see. Your trust, the spiritual realm that you see. I cannot understand you. I can't at all." In that same moment, he looked at me and said, "Pastor, pray for me." We have photos. He said, "Pray for me," and knelt down. I said, "No, don't kneel down. I'll pray for you." He said, "No. I recognize the spiritual authority in you." Consequently, we know that the Holy Spirit was with us at every moment as he is now.
Today, I am completely well. I didn't stop serving God. I don't feel what I felt before. What I felt before, the pain, has been left in the past. Today, I have the scars of everything I went through, but they serve to remind me of just how much God took care of me.
Today, we are doing much more than before. Now, she is beside me, and she is taking care of people and helping me like in the beginning. We have overcome everything. That phase of our lives has passed. Now, we have a lot more experience to help anyone in any situation.
I saw the altar as the hand of God, so I took hold of it. I embraced it with all my strength. I knew that if I didn't look at the altar, I wouldn't even be here today.